Good morning and happy Friday. Carolina from State Adventures here, just going over those pre-departure details for our VIP clients, the Carabellis. Peru is coming up so quickly, so let's dive into the details. Share my screen and you'll be able to see the PDF that I'm sending to you as well. Everything is confirmed and ready for them. So here's what it looks like, roster, all the details that everyone on the ground has. My guides, drivers, all the hotels and flights have received this roster. This is what we use to book all the details. Then you have contact information if you need anything while the clients are traveling. The best idea is just to have WhatsApp downloaded into their phone. If they need to reach me, they can reach out directly to my WhatsApp any time of the day, and we will help them with anything they might need, or if they have questions or things like that, or requests, and so on. And of course, our local team has a 24-hour WhatsApp as well, so they can reach out locally. But I always love to hear from clients if they need anything. So please make sure they get this information. And then requirements for entering. There are no additional forms or anything needed for Peru. It's very simple. All they need is their passport. So now the itinerary, everything we've discussed months ago when we were planning this adventure has now been confirmed. So September 6th, they're going to land in Lima at 9:30 p.m. Once they land, they're going to look for a sign with their name on it. This is after they get through customs, get their luggage, exit that secured area of the airport, and our guides will be waiting for them right outside the door. Private car is waiting for them to take them to their hotel, which is Hotel B, the epicenter room. This is a great neighborhood, the Barranco neighborhood, right next to Miraflores neighborhood. Lots of art and galleries and museums, beautiful residential area. So the next day, we're going to explore Lima. Always breakfast at the hotel, always meals specified up here under the date. They're going to split that tour into two. So in the morning, we're going to tackle the highlights and we'll have lunch at the museum. And in the afternoon, we'll do a gourmet walking tour of Lima, where they're going to do tastings along the way, go to ruins, go to the coast, have beautiful views, see sunset, and so on. It's a great day. I do this every time I'm in Lima. It's always a little bit different, and you feel like you're part of the city. Now, on September 8th, we're going to pack up, check out, and we're heading south to the desert. So the desert's really interesting. This is where there are the Nazca lines. This is where there are mummies. This is wonderful museums, wonderful culture, a whole Pisco area where they grow the wine. So really wonderful place to explore with a private guide. And this is exactly what we're going to do. So it's kind of like a road trip adventure. So the first day we're going to leave Lima, and I put here 7 a.m. I know we discussed later departures. There was something about the Pisco distillery that needed us to leave a little early, but I am still talking to the guide to see if we can push it perhaps to 8 or 9, and I'll get back to you. And of course, the guide will discuss everything with you the night before. So you're always preparing the night before. What are we going to do tomorrow? How do I need to pack, dress, and so on? So the first day is traveling from Lima to Ica, which is about a 5-hour drive, but it's beautiful. You're going to visit Paracas National Reserve. You're going to go to Pachacamac ruins. You're going to go to the Ica museum. So it's a really full day. Lunch is arranged. And then you check into your hotel in Ica, which is truly in the desert. And then September 9th, again, you rise in the morning and we're going to tackle some highlights. So we're going to split that between the Chauchila Cemetery, which is what I mentioned with the mummies, and then also Huacachina, which is this oasis in the desert where you can ride buggies. And that is exactly what we're going to do. Have lunch in the desert and check into our next hotel, which is in Nazca. So now we are in the area of this cultural hub. And the whole point of coming all the way down here is for September 10th is to rise and go see the overflight of the Nazca line. So you're going to be in like a 6-seater plane and fly over the Nazca. It probably takes no more than 30 minutes, but it is stunning to be able to see that, and kind of the point of heading all the way down here in the desert. After we see the Nazca lines, we check out, we enjoy the sights. We're going to another museum there, the archaeological museum. And we're going to start making our way back to Lima, which is about a 5 to 6 hour drive. And because you're flying the next morning, instead of going into town, we're going to sleep at the airport hotel. So Costa del Sol, it's a Wyndham property. It's literally connected to the terminal with a little sky bridge. Very convenient. I've stayed here probably 10 times whenever I have these kind of connections. So it's really nice. You're going to spend all day exploring, and then you go to the hotel, you can rest, and then the next morning we're flying to the Inca Triangle, right, to Cusco and Sacred Valley and Machu Picchu, and see all the sites there. So that is what the beginning looks like. You have Lima, then you have the desert. In the desert, although it looks like it's filled with activities, there's going to be some downtime. There's going to be some relaxation. So don't worry, we're not running every day, all day. You definitely will have time to enjoy and treat it like a vacation that it is. And then September 11th, we're going to walk back to the terminal, which is so convenient because it's right there. No cars needed. You're just going to walk to the terminal, check into your flight, for that 1 hour flight to Cusco. And now my team in Cusco will be picking you up. So the same team kind of stays with you for the areas where they are experts in. So in obviously in the desert in Lima, it's one team, and here is another team. So same concept. You get out of the airport and you look for a sign with your name on it. And we're going to go right into the Sacred Valley. Remember how we discussed altitude? We're going to make sure we're acclimating properly. So we're going to start at a lower altitude at the Andina Boutique Hotel. But before we get there, there are so many sites to see. We're going to go to Maras, Morai, and Chinchero to see some sites that do not require any strenuous activity. It's some light walking, a little bit of stairs. You're getting your body acclimated. My team will be with you. They just to kind of give you an idea. In Peru, we have been blessed to be here for 18 years. I work with a team that has a medic on board. If someone is not feeling well, we carry all the equipment and oxygen tanks in our backpacks. So if anyone is not feeling well, we have that. Of course, there are so many different medicines that you can discuss about altitude, but I usually stick to staying really hydrated, taking liquid IV in my water, which really gives me a boost. I get little patches, just like motion sickness patches, but altitude patches for the back of my ear. And that has really helped me tremendously. I was just in Peru hiking various really high peaks last week, and that has been such a great addition to my repertoire of how to tackle altitude. And of course, coca tea, muña tea, all sorts of different herbal supplements that you can receive at every hotel in Peru. We are here to make sure you're feeling good, and that's why we planned this trip this way. So you kind of have these steps of gently going up in altitude and not going right into Cusco, which is really high. So at the hotel, you have your dinner arranged. Oh, and lunch, of course, is arranged at Iskan Mayras, which is what I mentioned to you about our little speakeasy restaurant that you just knock on this random door and it opens up into a beautiful restaurant. Great place. So September 12th is your day at leisure. I love this because Sacred Valley is a countryside, beautiful views. You see people working the farms. There's animals. It's a great place to unwind. Dinner is included at the hotel. And then September 13th, we're going to go and explore Sacred Valley. So we're going to go to Miss Me9. That's the community that State Adventure sponsors. It's literally, you will be the only visitors. One of the families will kind of adapt you, will show you around. You get a glimpse into the life in the Andes. It's really beautiful. And they will cook a pachamanca ceremony for you. And that is cooking a lunch underground. You can participate in it. It's a lot of fun. I love going there for just meeting the people. They're so interesting. They're learning how to be entrepreneurs and kind of use what they have to sustain themselves, especially after COVID. They feel like they need to relearn that. You're also going to go to Ollantaytambo. You're going to go to Pisac. It's a full day. Lunch is arranged. Dinner is at the hotel. And now tonight, when you come back to your hotel, all of these beautiful notes from my operations team are here. This is how to prepare for Machu Picchu. So number one, the trains to Machu Picchu leave early. They leave at 8 a.m. So we're going to be leaving the hotel at 6:30. The hotel may already have breakfast starting at 6, but if you're not an early riser and you don't want to eat at 6 a.m., the hotel is more than happy to make a boxed breakfast to go for you. The guide will help you, but if you just remember letting the front desk know, they will have it arranged for you to take with you. Much nicer to be able to eat on a train with the beautiful views instead of, rushing at 6 in the morning. So that's step one. Step two is packing for Machu Picchu. You're only going there for one night, and the trains do not allow your large suitcases. The guide will explain all of this to you, but I also want to bring that up so that you are prepared. Most people use whatever they used for their carry-on luggage. They bring that bag to Machu Picchu because it fits underneath the chair or behind the chair in the train. So it's really convenient. You don't want to have big bags because there is no space for those. So you bring that carry-on, or you bring a backpack, or you bring something for your overnight visit. Everything else gets closed up, and our driver will take it right to the Cusco hotel. So when you finish with Machu Picchu and go back to Cusco, your bags will be waiting for you most likely in your room already. So it's really well organized. We do this every day for every client. It runs like clockwork. It's a big part of making sure the logistics run smoothly so that you don't have to come back to Sacred Valley to your hotel to pick up luggage. That would just add hours of driving. So you pre-plan, you're ready to go. And the next morning, we take you to the train station. It's about 45 minutes from the hotel. And then you take your beautiful Vista Dome train ride. This is the train that has the glass dome ceiling, beautiful views. It is a spectacular ride, follows the river. And once you arrive, this is another logistical problem for a lot of people who arrive to Machu Picchu, but we take care of all of that for you. So when you get off the train, along with hundreds of other people, our guide is there waiting for you. Again, sign with your name on it, and he is there with a porter. So the porter will take your overnight bag and whisk it away to your hotel in Machu Picchu so that you and the guide can go right to the shuttle and right to the ruins. Everyone else, or a lot of the people who are getting off the train, will have to go looking for their hotel, check in, leave their bags. The rooms are not ready yet, so they have to store the bags. Then they go around and go back to the ruins to visit. So it could be a logistical nightmare, but we want to make sure it's very smooth for you. So I'm giving you all these details just so you understand all those little behind the scenes movements there. So we take care of all of that. Then you go to the ruins with your guide, have your first visit. It's quite a beautiful experience. It's kind of breathtaking to see Machu Picchu for the first time. We arrange lunch for you. You check into your hotel and you have dinner at the hotel. And that's the El Mapi Hotel that we discussed, the Inca Terra Peruvian chain. Now, the next morning is your second visit to Machu Picchu, and a really important day because you're going to have the opportunity to climb a peak. So we discussed all the different trails around Machu Picchu, and Uchuy Picchu is that soft hike. It's the shortest or the lowest mountain in Machu Picchu. So it's the easiest. It's about, if you take it slow and go at your own pace, it's a 1 hour up, 30 minutes down, probably shorter. I was just there and I hiked the other peaks, which are double the size of Uchuy Picchu, and it took me an hour up. So I think just stopping for photos and for breaks and for these beautiful views, you will have a lovely 1.5 hour hike at your leisure. Of course, visiting another circuit of the ruins, having lunch at the Sanctuary Lodge, and then coming back to the village where you will take the train back to Cusco. So the train stations, just so you know, the reason the train doesn't go all the way to Cusco, and the guide will discuss that with you just in case you ask him, is because the train track from Ollantaytambo, which is that Sacred Valley train station, to Cusco takes double the time now than driving. So we make our clients a way shorter visit. You ride to Ollantaytambo, which is an 1.5 hours. You get off the train. Some people will stay on and then for another 2 hours or so, but we will drive you instead. And it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to get to your hotel in Cusco, much faster, maybe, yeah, like about an hour because it'll be evening. So they drive slower. So much easier. So I just wanted to address that in case you have a question. Well, why are we going back to Sacred Valley? Well, Sacred Valley is just on the way to Cusco, and it's much better. There, you're going to check into the Palacio del Inca. You'll have three nights in Palacio del Inca. Wonderful property. My husband and I stayed there the last time we traveled, last Thanksgiving, and they put on a full Thanksgiving meal for us. I will always remember that because they do details really well. You have a day at leisure, so you can kind of take it all in, go walking, great cobblestone town. I love sitting in the main square with a coffee at one of the balcony cafes and just taking it all in and people watching, my favorite activity in Cusco. And then on the 17th, we'll show you the best of Cusco. So we'll go to the market, which is super interesting. We'll go to the ruins. We'll see the highlights of the city. And then tonight, we will do our cocktail walking around the town. So this was so fun. We just created it maybe a year ago, and I just experienced it last week as well, where you're with a local bartender and you're going to 3 different restaurants or bars and you're tasting pisco drinks and you're making them with the bartender, and it's just this really great feeling of being a part of the city. Whole idea is so you're not on a car looking out the window, so that you're intertwined in the regular life of Cusqueñas, and in enjoying places that you probably wouldn't have popped in on your own. So it's a really great tour. Then we wrap up our Cusco visit with dinner at Map Cafe. This was the best meal of my whole trip, so I'm really excited for you to experience it. You enter the museum after it's closed, and so it's dark, it's kind of creepy, but the museum is available and open to you to see. So you go into all the different caverns to see all the artifacts, and then in the middle of the courtyard, there's a glassed-in room, and that's the restaurant, and they serve you this wonderful meal that takes you around the country through your plate. Fantastic experience, walking distance from your hotel. And then on the 18th, we're going to take you to the train station because you're you're riding the train to Lake Titicaca. So you're in Cusco, now we're going up, up, up again to Lake Titicaca. This is why we leave the lake for the end, because it is the highest location. The train is quite long. It's a full day experience, but it is just that, an experience. It has a beautiful lunch served. There's live music. There's a part of the cart that is open with couches, and you sit out there with your pisco sour. There's one stop where you can get off the train. There's a market there and a local indigenous community that comes to visit. So it's a really interesting experience. It's kind of like a bygone era of riding the train. The views are spectacular, and I love this day because this is the one day where you're not moving around. You can relax, you can read a book, you can take a nap. It's wonderful. Once you arrive in the Puno train station, the Titilaca Lodge team will take over. So the Titilaca Lodge is on the lake. They're like on this little peninsula, and they have their own drivers, their own cars, their own guide. They include everything from the transportation to your meals to all the activities. So for the next 2 nights, you're going to be with them. They're going to pick you up, have a late lunch included for you. The next day, show you all around the lake. So Uros floating islands, Taquile. Now, while you're at the peninsula at the lodge, they do bonfires, and they have kayaks, and they have all kinds of experiences that you can enjoy during your downtime. And all your meals are included. And then on day 15, which is your flight home, the Titilaca team will take you in the morning for another excursion to the necropolis of Silustani. Then they'll take you to the airport. You'll fly to Lima. You'll arrive around 3 o'clock. And your flight home is now not around midnight, which I do not like if someone has a big gap like that. So I went ahead and rented a room at the Wyndham Costa del Sol again. I love that you will be familiar where this hotel is because you have stayed there after the desert. So you can just walk to the hotel. The room will be ready for you. You can refresh, you can rest, you could take a nap, have dinner inside their restaurant, go to their spa. They have a great spa package. Enjoy. But make sure you make it to the airport by, I would say, 9, so that you're there 3 hours before. So you have 6 hours to rest at the Wyndham Hotel at my pleasure, really, because I want you to be able to go home refreshed. And that's it. Below the itinerary, you have some pre-departure information from packing lists to what electricity to expect, and so on and so on. Please review it. Let me know if you have any questions. As you know, I love Peru. I can talk about it for hours. So if anything pops up, just let me know, and happy travels.